Without this quality control, the federal government now say we are going to change the name to NAFDAC, National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control. Evidences are available. Oyo State started OCSS, Oyo State Integrated Self-Help Scheme. The federal government came, acquired it, and turned it to National Directorate of Employment. You see, when you look at the industrial statistics, Oyo State is far ahead, about 50 years ahead of the country. When you are now talking about this, let me go back a little bit to that of the toothpick. You will see that it came up from waste. We started it from waste. All the wood from the sawmill, from the carpenter's circle, which our local people use in cooking beans, in making frying this and that, then we started working on it. First is making the matches. You can make matches from that waste. So instead of waste it, why don't you use it to create employment? Create employment for the people, and at the same time bring down the inflationary trends going on. After you have made up that of the matches, then a little bit you make the toothpick. We produce very, very good equipment producing toothpick. And after the toothpick, the next one is the cotton ball. You see, the farmers now have the opportunity of growing more and more cotton. And all you need to do is take that small piece, put in a little bit of gum, and put that cotton. The cotton ball is ready. We make very, very high quality, comparable to European standard. Very, very comparable to European. And that's why it's about 50 years ahead of the entire country.
In listening to you, put it very concisely, what would you now say the problem is? You painted a scenario.
Administration. Pure administration problems. You see, because we have the sun coming up every day. Without the sun, there cannot be rain. And when we have the rain coming up periodically, you see, within the year, look at this entire farmland. It's more than 70% of the land. You see, what I mean is that where people occupy is about 30%. The free land is about 70%.
We do have vast potential.
We do have land. And then why can't we grow things to satisfy our people? And whenever you start to grow, think of the price. You have to bring down the price. If you don't bring down the price,
Mr. Bailey, we constantly hear the president talk about middlemen and how their activities is what contributes to high prices of food in the country. Then how do we begin to address that if you agree with the president's submission?
It is not compulsory that you have middlemen who are not interested in being honest to the government. You understand?
So how do you propose that problem is addressed if we agree this?
Let the government concentrate on the farmers. Then when the farmers are now coming up, then the government will now start to say, okay, how do I industrialize the farmers' product? Different types of industry will be set up to acquire the farmers' product such that they themselves will start to employ more Nigerians. And when that is now on, it will start that the number of middlemen in farm will start to reduce.
Okay, Engineer, some would say government has no business doing business. How do we tackle that problem of the middlemen that the president has constantly told us about? That's, for him, the biggest problem with pricing of food, and that's what is causing that increment. What do you say?
What can actually take care of this is when government decided to set up what we call board for each crop. You know, those days we have cocoa board.
In the past, yes.
So they can actually set up a board, cocoa board, maize board, rice board. This board will make sure that they work on pricing. You know, for petroleum now, for example, we have PPRA. I think they have changed their name now. So what they actually worked on is that, okay, what happens to this pricing of this produce? So the government can actually work around that. One of the problem farmers are having, let me tell you, farmers are having serious problem in that rural area, which of course I'm one of them. One of the problem is land preparation. In fact, it takes care of about 40-45% of what farmer wants to do on their farm. Now, most especially in this southern part of the country, the government intervention as regards the preparation of the land is minute. I won't say they didn't have at all, because we have NAUDA, and the function of NAUDA, which is National Authority for Land Development Agency, is to actually look into how can you develop farmland for farmers to work into. Majority of our farmers now, they are diversifying. They are moving away even from farm produce and whatever, become the so-called middlemen. Because if care is not taken, majorly analysis have shown that middlemen even get more money than even the farmer. They will get your produce, for example, at the rate of 190,000 per tonnage for your maize, and they are supplying company A at the rate of 240,000. The margin of that 50,000, you as a farmer, you don't even have that type of margin on a ton, considering all your factors of production. Now, if you now look at what is happening, typically you will see that governments still have business in the business. And what's the business of the government? One of which is that create enabling environment. What do I mean by that? I remember that a few months ago, Borno State government delivered dams to their farmers. Do you know number of dams Oyo State have?
For irrigation.
For irrigation, for their dry season farming. How many farmers in Oyo State are involved in dry season farming now? Go and take the statistics. There should be less than 10 or 12% involved in dry season farming. So definitely we still have this deficiency. When we have the dams there, Ikiriku is there, Ashejire is there, Ele is there, what exactly is the government effort as regards that? We have advised them. We have put even paper up for them as regards some of these dams.
And
what they can do with it.
What's usually the response that you get?
They will tell you we are working on it, we will treat it, we are working on it. Because some of us work with this local farmer, and we know one of their headache is water. Ruwasa is there for your state. They can think of building boreholes even for farmers. These are the things that happen in the northern part of the country, and that is why they are still the one feeding this country. When they don't have the enabling environment in terms of the weather, in terms of the soil, and a lot of things are against them as regards the production, yet they are still the one producing better than us.
Some will argue, but just before Mr. Bello puts his opinion out there, let's open the phone lines for those who want to call in and contribute on the program. The number to call is 0805 500 9850. The number again is 0805 500 9850. The program is Searchlight, coming live to you from Oluyole 98.5 FM, and we're discussing federal government's rice pyramids and agriculture economic diversification. Mr. Bello, you wanted to react to Engineer Ido's submission there.
I want to make a small contribution. Years ago, we have a small company in Oyo State called Lafia Canning Factory. You see, when you talk of the middlemen, a farmer comes up with a basket of oranges. He takes it to the middlewoman or the middleman, that is the market woman and co. Then the market woman will say, okay, you kids, sell each orange for 10 naira. Let us assume that the farmer has about 100 in that basket. 10 times 100, that's 1,000 naira. We are not assisting the farmer because that particular middleman will buy at a cheaper rate. 10 times 100 is 1,000. The woman may not pay more than 200 or 300 naira for the farmer. Let us now assume that the second farmer now takes his own basket to Lafia Canning Factory.